to the Filipinos of today still embody. Filipinos' values and treats. Philippines is a lush island paradise famous for its grandiose mountain views, pristine beaches, and rich and diverse culture changing from province to province. Philippines may be well known for its awe-inspiring beauty, perhaps the Filipinos' unique traits, reputable values, and laudable talents make a country a place to be. Tourists who have visited the Philippines can never forget the big and bright smiles that greeted them, the colorful and loud jeepneys, the common Filipino phrases such as mabuhay and salamat, and habits such as saying po and opo to the elders. So, leaving shoes or slippers at the front door before entering the house, and the importunate asking of kumain ka na ba? Meaning, have you eaten yet? Indeed, it's a marvel to experience these unique traits of the Filipinos firsthand. Few of these traits are as follows. The Filipino hospitality. A Filipino trait is known everywhere is the Filipinos' brand of hospitality. So Filipinos welcome their guests and tourists as if they were own brothers and sisters. They always make their guests feel at home, offering them something to eat or even place to stay. They will bring out their best seats, plates, and chinaware for their honored guests and would even go as far as spending a lot of money and going into debt just so they can satisfy them. In most local shop, Filipino salesperson will greet their customer with warm welcome and say thank you. Then they leave even without buying anything. Filipino anticipate giving tours to friends who will visit their hometown and treating them the best restaurant in the delicacies for free. So during festivals or fiestas, Filipinos serve heaps of festival food and invite the whole barangay over. So they are also fond of giving pasalubong or tokens of their travels and babaon or farewell gift to their visitors. Respect for one's elders is traditional in the Philippines. When Filipino child meet an older family member, the youth customarily greets them with gesture called mano po, taking the older relative's hand and placing it on his or her own forehead to express profound respect for elders. Forgetting to address older people properly will regard them as rude and impolite. There is also a wide array of references to older people such as ate for older sister, and kuya for older brother, and tito and tita for uncle and aunt, respectively lolo and lola for grandfather and grandmother, and manong and ate for older people outside the family. Filipino, also known for the close family ties, is an old distinctive nature in the typical Filipino household. It has always been recognized as one of the core values of Filipino families, wherein the relationship is anchored on love, care, and protection for one another. Filipino maintain a tight relationship with their families regardless if the children are old enough and already have a families of their own. They are also fond of family reunions during birthdays, holidays, or fiesta, year-round. Some Filipinos families even opt to live in a big house where anyone can stay together. Nursing home are almost always not an option for family members and choose to take care of their elder themselves. Cheerful personality. Filipinos have a habit of smiling and laughing a lot. Smiling has been a coping strategy for many Filipinos, especially during trying times and calamities. They always try to maintain a positive outlook in life, which makes them resilient and able to manage almost everything with simple smile. They smile when they are happy, or sometimes even when they are sad or angry. Lesson 4, which is the political self and being a Filipino. The specific learning outcomes in Lesson 4, at the end of this lesson you should be able to develop a Filipino identity, identify the Filipino values and traits, and reflect on your selfhood in relation to your national identity. Abstraction. What makes a Filipino a genuine Filipino? So the thought of being a genuine Filipino is just a concept to unite various people under the nation of the Philippines. The physical characteristics such as having a dark hair, black nose, and dark complexion make us one Filipino, or it is the person's language, birthplace, and ethnicity. If you were introduce yourself as Filipino to a person to another nationality and he or she asks, "Who are Filipinos?" and what will you reply? Foreign culture, beliefs, language, and religion have made a huge dent in our own by setting a foundation to contemporary Filipino identity and culture. The Philippines, as we know it today, it has only emerged in 1990s after over 3 centuries of colonization of the Spaniards. Meanwhile, liberation from last colonies, the Japanese, only occurred on 1946. Mga bagay na nakaimpluwensya sa kultura ng Pilipinas. So bago pa man dumating ang mga unang mananakop, ang mga lakal galing sa India, Malaysia, Indonesia, China at Hapon ay may malaking kontribusyon din sa kultura ng Pilipinas. Ang Hinduismo at Budismo ay may impluwensya sa mga katutubong paniniwala ng mga Pilipino bago dumating ang Kastila at ang mga lakal na Muslim. Ang wikang Tagalog at iba pang wika sa Pilipinas ay maraming hiniram sa wikang Sanskrito. Isang mabuting halimbawa ang karma, na hanggang ngayon ay pinaniniwalaan pa rin ng mga Pilipino. Maraming mga pamahiin, hiniram na salita at pagkain tulad ng pansit, siopaw at iba pa ay minana sa mga lakal na Chino. To date, colonial mentality remains an issue. Given the wide discrepancy between the liberation period and today's time, would it be safe to say that Filipinos have truly developed an identity of their own? Or are we still living the shadow of colonial trends? In this chapter, we will learn that individual race, ethnicity, and physical characteristics are not just the only factors that make a person's national identity, but also the values and traits are also important indicators that set apart one nationality from the others. These values and traits may not always be a positive thing, but being able to identify oneself apart from the other nationalities and point out weaknesses and mistakes paired with unity and commitment make progress a possibility. So through common goals, principles, and values of each people, a nation empowers itself. Filipinos are often referenced to globally renowned personalities who made Filipinos recognized around the world through their expertise. So like Manny Pacquiao, he is known for pambansang kamao because of his talent and skill in boxing, as well as Lea Salonga because of her magical voice in singing. However, being a Filipino is far more than just being related to these notable figures. Independence Day and Buwan ng Wika celebration prompt us to go back to our roots and reflect on the question, who is a Filipino? Ang Independence Day ay sinasagawa taon-taon para ipagdiriwang ang kalayaan ng mga Pilipino mula sa Espanya. Gayun din ang Buwan ng Wika. Sa pagdiriwang nito, ganap na ipinatupad ang Pampanguluhang Proklamasyon bilang 1041 may angat ang kamalayan ng mga mamayang Pilipino ukol sa wika ng kasaysayan. Who is a Filipino? So technically, according to the 1988 Philippine Constitution, Filipino citizens are those whose fathers and mothers are citizens of the Philippines. Those born before January 17, 1973 of Philippine mothers who elect Philippine citizenship upon reaching the age of majority. And those who are naturalized in accordance with the law. Citizenship is not the only marker of being a Filipino. Culture and history have greatly influenced the manner Filipinos learn, live, and behave today. People who were born and grew up in the same culture develop the same common personality, traits, and values. So these are some characteristics of the Filipinos. So being honest, respectful, calm and collected, resourceful, hardworking, passionate, jack of all trades, and cheerful. So these are a few commendable traits of the Filipinos that we also learned from from our parents. Generation after generation, common traits and values had been passed to the Filipinos of today still embody when they are sad or angry. Self-sacrifice. The self-sacrificing attitude of the Filipinos can be seen as an extension of the Filipino hospitality. Filipinos go out their way to extend help to their friends, family, and loved ones. They wish comfort and better lives for their loved ones and would even go to extend and working abroad 100 miles away to earn money and save up for them. Overseas Filipino workers is also known as OFWs sacrifice a lot. That is why they are regarded as modern-day Filipino heroes. There are also times when the eldest among the children of the family would give up school to work and provide for the rest of the family and educate his or her siblings. The bayanihan or bayanihan is a Filipino custom derived from the Filipino word bayan, which means nation, town, or community. The term bayanihan itself literally means being in a bayan, which refers to the spirit of communal unity, work, and cooperation to achieve a particular goal. Filipinos are always ready to share and help their friends and loved ones who are in need. It may not always be in monetary form, but the time and effort they give also count as a form to help for them. This trait particularly manifested in how Filipinos really rally themselves to send aid for those who are severely affected by natural calamities. Bahala na attitude. This is also synonymous to the phrase Q sera sera, whatever will be, or Hakuna Matata, means no worries. It leaves everything to chance or just let the circumstances take care of themselves, embracing luck over good reason. The phrase is said to have originated from Bahala na, where Bathala means God, and the phrase meaning leaving everything into God's hand. It can also be viewed as something similar to the cheerful and positive attitude of Filipinos and allowing situations take care of themselves instead of worrying about them. Colonial mentality. Filipinos prefer foreign-made products instead of patronizing Philippine-made ones, the result of higher gains of foreign businessmen than the local businessmen. Thus, it motivates Filipino businessmen to improve the quality of their product to make it more competitive against the foreign ones. Colonial mentality is regarded to as a lack of patriotism and the attitude of where Filipino favor foreign products more than their own. Mañana habit, this is the Filipino term for procrastination, a poor habit, a sign of laziness, of leaving for a later time what can be done at the moment or today, thus resulting to a stock workload to be done and then complain about it. Ningaskugon or Niaskugon is a kind of grass that burns easily when dry but extinguishes easily as well. Like a kugon grass, Filipinos starting with a great enthusiasm, but the first sign of difficulty, the enthusiasm is consumed as fast as it has ignited. Laziness is a common problem among Filipinos. That is why Filipinos are regarded as one tamad or lazy one. Pride. Patigasan, most Filipino find it hard to say I'm sorry or pasensya na. Their precious pride is always get the best of them. Most Filipinos hold into their pride as they are more precious than keeping a good relationship with family and loved ones. When two parties are not in good terms, they find it so hard to apologize and wait until the other party asks for an apology first. Crab mentality, a troublesome trait evident in Filipino where when sees the progress of a comrade, the other becomes resentful rather than happy for the achievement. Better than to praise, he would highlight everything negative about the person in effort to bring him down or destroy his reputation. This is the toxic trait among Filipinos where one resents the achievements of another. Instead of feeling happy for that person, just like crab in a container, they are pull each other down and ruin each other's reputation rather than bringing them up, resulting no progress. Filipinos should change this troublesome attitude and focus on more on their own advocacies to improve oneself. Filipino time. For Filipinos, being late and starting things late have always been part of our culture. Many Filipinos seems to either practice it or accept it so much that we've been giving term for it Filipino time. Filipino time. Filipinos have this common attitude of arriving late at commitments, dinner, parties, especially if they are meeting someone close to them. They tend not to observe punctuality altogether. The 7 p.m. call time becomes suggested to 7:30 p.m. and almost everyone arrives at the same time because everyone is using Filipino time. Of our being a Filipino. What makes us truly relish in our being of a Filipino? The following are the constant reminders of our nationality. Proverbs or salawikain, like any other proverbs, are saying that convey lessons and reflections on Filipino practices, beliefs, and traditions. Damiana Eugenia, regarded as the mother of Philippine folklore, classified proverbs into 6 categories. Proverbs expressing a general attitude toward life and laws that govern life. B. Ethical proverbs recommending certain virtues and commending certain vices. C. Proverbs expressing a system of values. And D. Expressing general truths and observation about life and human nature. E. Humorous proverbs. And C. Miscellaneous proverbs. An example of a Filipino proverb is the saying, "Kung may tiyaga, may nilaga," which means that hard work will be rewarded if one is persistent. Superstitions, some of these may be influenced by beliefs from other cultures, but Filipino have retold their superstitions according to their own experience, and they sometimes end up even for more interesting. According to the Filipino superstition, a woman singing while cooking will end up as sprinter, so parents remind their daughters to avoid singing while preparing their meals. Parents also avoid taking pictures in trees as the one in the center is said to be die. According to another superstitions. So superstition or pamahiin. So bakit pa tayo kailangang maniniwala nito? So, ang kahalagahan ng pamahiin ay nagbibigay ng direksyon at paliwanag ang karanasan ng tao. Nagiging basihan kung paano napapabuti ang pamumuhay. Nagbabawasan nito ang kalayaan ng tao na magsagawa ng bagay na hindi pamilyar sa kanya, kaya siya napapalayo sa disgrasya at kapahamakan. at nakapagpanatag din ito ng isip. Myths and legends. These stories are aimed to explain the origin of things, at the same time teach valuable lesson. Some of these stories stem in pre-Christianity period but have evolved to the stories we know today. A famous Filipino legend is about the origin of pineapple fruit. It is about the story of a young and lazy girl named Pina, who always asked where her mother gave things she needed without looking for them first. When Pina mothers got tired of being asked where she hid her things, her mother wished that be planted on Pina's face so she would start using them. To her mother's surprise, the next morning, Pina was gone and the fruit sprung on the yard and planted with eyes all around its body, which was later called pinya, the Filipino term for fine apple. Heroes and icons. Heroes serve as a reminder of true patriotism and nationalism as they have sacrificed their lives for the sake of the country's freedom and progress. Famous Filipino icons such as Lea Salonga, Manny Pacquiao, and Jose Rizal also serve as important Filipino markers as they made the Filipino name more pronounced worldwide through their own expertise. Dr. Jose Rizal, a national hero of the Philippines for his key role inspiring and leading the Philippines Revolution against the colonial Spain. He was a man of incredible intellectual power and amazing artistic talent. He excelled at anything that he put his mind to: medicine, poetry, sketching, architecture, sociology, and more. Andres Bonifacio, he was a Filipino revolutionary hero who founded the Kataas-Taasan Kagalang-galangan na Katipunan ng Mga Anak ng Bayan or KKK or Katipunan na secret sociology devoted to fighting Spanish occupation of the Philippines. He also known as a Supremo, destined to change the history of the Filipino people. Also, one of our heroes and icons is Melchora Aquino, also known as Tandang Sora. He was 84 years old when she became involved of the Philippine Revolution. She largely contributed to the Katipunan and she was nicknamed as the Mother of the Katipunan. Lea Salonga, best known for his roles in hit Broadway musicals such as Miss Saigon and Les Miserables, named by Disney as a legend in 2021 for her work with the company as the singing voice of the Princess Jasmine, Aladdin, and Mulan. Tony Best Actress Musical Award for Miss Saigon when she was 20 years old. Manny Pacquiao, Fighter of the Decade, the most famous Filipino professional boxer, and the only 8th Division World Champion, which made him popular in the boxing field. How to be a good Filipino. Now you know that your traits and values are important indicators of being a Filipino. There are now is how to truly become one and how you can useful to the development and progress of our country. So the following are the few ways in how to be a good Filipino. To be a good Filipino, be an active Filipino citizen. Is aware of the current events and participates in government programs that aim for the country's progression and development by simply exercising your right to vote and also become an active Filipino citizen. Choose the right leaders for the Philippines who are genuine and helping and caring for the Filipino people. Second, study the Philippine history. By learning and fully understanding the events of Philippine history, you will learn so much as to why it is so important for you to love your country with your life, extend help to your fellow Filipinos in need, and recognize abuse of political power. Support local products. Do not only support local manufacturers and businessmen, but you also support to strengthen the local economy. Supporting our local products also display our creativity, innovativeness, and resourcefulness. Speak the Filipino language. Rizal highlighted the importance of speaking a national language as way of displaying the love for one's country. Speaking Filipino always serve as unique identifier of being a Filipino. Do not spread fake news and be democratic in engaging with dissent. It is part of being a good Filipino to understand and verify what you read online, especially in social media, before actually believing it and spreading like a wildfire. Responsibility of every Filipino to recognize disagreement and political views, to be tolerant and argue intelligently without having resort into name-calling people.